Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night, so we're here in Conway, Arkansas for another episode of Arkansas Motorsports Magazine's Tuesday Night Tune-Up. I'm Joe Gilkey with my co-host Heath Tate, and we're here at Kenny Clark's Racing Shop just outside of Conway, Arkansas. And we've got Kenny down on the end joining us tonight. We've got Conner Kuykendall. He's setting the world on fire in the mini sprint world. We got his dad, Jeremy Kuykendall, who's been around a long time, an old racing legend over here himself, Randy Weaver, come to be with us tonight, and we've also got Bryce Clark here with us tonight. So we've got an exciting show coming up, brought to you by Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas. There's also one right here in Conway, so we're glad to be here in Conway tonight with Chambers Bank location nearby. We also want to thank True Grit Auction Company, Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer for the state of Arkansas. And he talked a little bit about the auction that's, I think, coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, either tonight or tomorrow. Everybody needs to check that out. It's on high bid. And there's lots of automobile stuff, racing stuff, parts.
Aluminum heads.
Yeah, some aluminum heads they've got there.
Intakes.
Some intakes, just manifolds, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, they got broke down into lots, and there's going to be 1,000 lots probably in this little old auction they got going on. So there's going to be
a lot of nice tools.
Lots of tools. I mean, if you need tools, that's something to look at. I mean, they got lifts, all kinds of tools. A little bit of everything. And you don't have to be a racer.
No,
they've got a little bit of all kinds of stuff in that auction. So.
And I want to say something else about that. Everything in that auction is good quality stuff.
Oh my gosh, everything.
So if you're a racer, car enthusiast, or looking for some shop tools, that's going to be the auction to go to.
Yeah.
So
Lots of stuff.
You can check it out on High Bid or go to True Grit Auctions Facebook page.
Right.
And that'll direct you over to the auction. Like I said, I think that's going to be released either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't miss that.
Is that strictly like an online?
Yeah.
Strictly online auction. You can bid online, and then you go pick up that
All
weekend.
bids, silent bids, or
All, yeah. I mean, you just bidding along. I mean, you can keep up with what you bid, and if somebody's outbid you, then you can go back and bid again. But they've got lots and lots of stuff this week on that for anybody that needs tools. It's got everything.
Everything. Also, we want to thank Kevin Rogers with KR Performance Fuels. Appreciate everything Kevin does. If you're in the market need of performance fuel, think of KR Performance Fuels. Also, we want to thank our friends up in Batesville, Arkansas, Shaw Race Cars. They do a tremendous job of what they do, and also they're supporting Arkansas Motorsports Magazine. Also, want to thank Skyway Buick GMC in Joplin, Missouri. It's very easy. Get on the internet, search the Skyway inventory. You can buy a car right there on the internet. Now, you've been busy the last couple of weeks.
I'm out. I'm out.
No, you can't.
I can't keep going up there and delivering cars.
We've been allowing Heath the last few weeks that if you buy a car from Skyway between now and Friday, he goes and helps deliver the keys, and we've got to have him at work this Friday.
Yeah,
so
can't.
maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
Maybe next week, and we also want to thank New Vision Graphics.
Yes.
Up in Batesville, Arkansas. So thanks Kurt Shaw for all he does for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine. And I guess at this time we'll throw it over to Heath Tate for his breaking and late racing news.
The rain.
Right.
That's the big news. Seems like every weekend we're getting rained out. I know y'all didn't run up to Batesville Friday, and they rained out back our way. I-30 got rained out. Y'all went to West Memphis, I guess, and got to run a little bit up there. Last week we had Wesley Bourne on the show, and I think he went and ran up at Crawford. I think they got to run.
He won the feature race.
One feature race at Crawford, so they got to run up there. But rain. Looks like this weekend may be the same way.
Yep. Yeah. It's looking like it Friday.
So
I think Saturday might be okay. It just depends on how much rain we get.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're that time of year.
What we got coming up this week? Anywhere?
I mean, I'm sitting there trying to think of what all we did got coming up.
There's a little bit of stuff. We got you know, if weather permits, we got a 2-day
At
Power
Bates-
Eye Street Stock
Street
Show.
Pro, yeah. Up
Saturday
there, that's
night.
Saturday, it's Friday and Saturday that y'all got up there, but.
Saturday night will be the Power Eye Street Stocks and the Southern Outlaw Lake Malls.
Right,
At Batesville.
at Batesville, yeah, I forgot about them.
I-30, I think's running some
I-30
kind
just-
of bandit,
Sprint car.
Sprint car
race, yeah.
race, yeah,
Yeah.
but,
And I also want to mention at Diamond Park Speedway, the Mod Lights of Arkansas, tribute to Tex Myers, who was the
That's
2020
yeah.
Mod Light
that was,
champion.
started a lot of the mod light stuff in different classes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
excellent. Excellent, not a better man in sports, Tex Myers.
Right.
So,
Good man.
Story that I know you've been following, been checking into, there's a rumor,
nervous about this.
there's a rumor circling around the racing world. I know you've been digging, and that's what you do, you dig on these rumors that Johnny Burton, former late model standout, is forming a sprint car team.
There's a possibility, I mean, I know Burton has got a sprint car now.
What?
Wow.
All I know is Burton has got a sprint car. I don't know what the plans are with this sprint car, but yeah, Johnny Burton, we know you got a sprint car. And, I think Burton bought the sprint car, what, a month ago?
So that's the rumor.
Yeah, that's a rumor, but
There's just a lot of things rumor-wise floating around out there, and I know that you're gonna be continuing to
I'm
dig.
gonna check into it. I may go visit with Burton tomorrow, I don't know, but
Well, that's probably the one thing I haven't seen Burton race is a sprint car.
he's raced everything
He's raced
probably
everything,
but,
Yeah.
but, you know, and my understanding is he's got a sprint car, so we're gonna see what the deal is with that.
That ought to be interesting.
Well, thank you, Heath, and,
It will be interesting.
we'll look forward to a follow-up report on the Johnny Burton sprint car team, next week. If Johnny don't call in before the show.
That could happen also.
Yeah.
But,
That might have been supposed to be a hush-hush thing.
Yeah.
we, like I said, we're here in Conway tonight, and Kenny Clark was kind enough to invite us down tonight and talk with all these guys, and Heath, we're just gonna start down on your end, and we're gonna start with Kenny down there, and just, Kenny, how did you get started in the world of motorsports?
Mike Garrison walked in my shop one afternoon, asked me if I'd ever worked on dirt car. I said, no.
And Mike was Joe's brother.
Yeah. And he said, would you like to? And I said, well, I don't know, I'll try it. I was bit from the first night, and I guess 35 years later, I'm still bit.
Interesting.
I love it.
Once it gets in your blood, it's hard to get
It's
out.
just be like
It's a
getting on
fever.
drugs, man. It
That's
just keep on keeping on.
And what year was that probably?
It's back in the mid-80s.
That's what I was gonna guess.
Oh, hell, I didn't even think they had paved roads back when you started.
They didn't.
Hang on, I'm
I
to
guess,
You just hope you didn't have a flat tire, because there wasn't nobody else to change it.
You got, is that when you got to, get a little bit involved with going to GRT and working?
There wasn't no GRT.
Well, I
We was down
mean,
in Joe's house.
Joe's house, but
We built the first car right there at his house, and man, it just escalated from there. It just, I don't know, they got on some good people, and good drivers, and man, he had world champion cars for a long time.
And what was it like? What was the mood and the excitement around building the first car?
Really, just, you had a jig, you know, and you started laying pipe. I mean, it, you know, it wasn't just real exciting, but, I mean, it was kind of a learning process. You just learned to cut them and bend them.
Did y'all have any idea at that time, the vision of where that first car was gonna take those guys?
No, none. It's just start and hope for the best. Cause I mean, they got their first shot, and I mean, there wasn't nothing there, about 3 or 4 of us. Like I said, we just all started, we worked together, got good, and we sold a few cars, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I've seen more people at that shop at one time.
And
Now, there's been a lot of good racers come through.
Oh my God, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you can look back, I don't know. There were so many good drivers back then. I mean, we got to meet all of them, Dale McDowell, Brady Smith. I mean, I see times we built 2 or 3 cars at a time for them guys. I mean, they never passed it.
and just out of curiosity, if you remember, the first car, who was the driver of the first car?
Honestly, that's too long ago. I know Ray Brooks was in the middle of it. He drove
Carden,
one,
maybe?
Tony Carden, scrap iron. He might have been the first, Tony.
I think Tony Carden, maybe,
He
best
was-
I could remember.
He was a good
No,
guy.
it was,
I think
there was a few drivers before Tony
Yeah, it might
Carter.
be.
There was a few drivers before Tony Carter.
So I said, Tommy Joe Poucher, he drove their cars. Like I said, I've met a lot of people along the way. I can't remember all of them, but they enjoyed them, racing with them, you know, 'cause that's what we done. We took the car track, we worked on it for them. They told us what to do, and we did. Man, when their cars got on a tire, I mean, they were just world champions.
True.
I mean, that's hard to argue with. I've seen times they'd be 130 cars behind. And that's a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars.
And I mean, everybody just like bugs going everywhere, get stuff done, being put on. At one time, we could probably build 3 late models in 2 days. We just had that many people working on it.
And what was race day like back in those days? How hectic was it?
At 12 o'clock on Friday, there wasn't nobody there. Everybody gone. On race. Yeah, at noon, that's the latest, we gone. It's like ghost town up there, noon on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you going? I'm going here, I'm
I
going
think
there.
that's about every race shop though.
Pretty much, yeah, still today. Just like I said, I've met a lot of good people along the way. Christian Berry, he bought several cars, I think he run, his son run. I mean, just a lot of cars.
And move on down to this young man now.
Yeah.
This is Conner. And Conner's driving a mini sprint now. So tell us a little bit about this mini sprint that you're wheeling here, Conner.
You know, I started going to racetrack when I was 2 weeks old. So when I was about 3, I think me and Dad here, I was at the race shop playing in the dirt when he was working on his mod down at Midstate, and it's carried on from there. When I was, I think, 5 years old, I got my first go-kart, and we started racing around. And when I was about
Got beat by a girl first race, remember that?
He wasn't feeling
I was about
There's nothing shame to be.
Hey, no, I'm gonna tell you right now, that little girl, she's a shoot. She
Yeah.
can it's Keaton Atkinson, it's his, sister, his young, Cameron. And that little girl can flat drive a car, go-kart or anything you put her in, really, but anyway.
Yeah, and we went to a couple of national races. The first ever one I was at, I almost totaled the cart out. But we kept going to them, and finally, the last one I think we went to, I won, which was a huge accomplishment. And we sold everything of that and got into micros. My first ever car was a Factor 1. I think it was a 2008. And Tim Crawley helped us put everything together. And we went out to a little track in right by I-30 actually, and made a couple laps. I was 8 years old at that time, and then I turned 9 in August, and that's when racing season started. And we went out that first season, didn't run a lot of races, but we still ran. And we sold all that and got a
Totaled that car.
shush.
We didn't sell all of it, well, you totaled that one.
we got a new car, the one we're running now, the Sawyer. About this time, I was about 10, and we ran the last couple races of that season with the new car, and then next season, which was the last season, 2020, we went out, got a good top 5, top 3s, and then the last race of the season, my first ever win came to me that race, and you know, it's special.
Right.
I still go back and watch it. That's how special it was.
And really, I guess this year's not starting off bad. You went to West Memphis last week and ran 4th.
Yeah. Started 8th. Track was as slick as the concrete floor, but you gotta go forward, or if you're not, you're going backwards. So.
He ran 3rd his first night. We raced at Little Rock. It's been several weeks ago, but because of the rain, he ran 3rd there, and then we went to West Memphis last week and ran 4th.
And we're going back this week.
Going back to West Memphis.
Yeah.
You're in the mini sprints. You know, is it your ambition later on in life maybe to go to a full-fledged sprint car, or are you looking to go to a modified, or, you know, what's the plan?
Oh, we've been looking at a couple mods. We don't really want to do the sprint cars because they're a lot of money compared to the mods sometimes. But like if you go,
Well, and honestly, Dad don't know a lot about sprint cars.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And I've drove the car that's actually the Kenny's car, the one behind the camera right now at Connerville, and the first ever practice they had there, and I've loved it. So I think we're either gonna go mod or IMC stock car.
Oh, you can't go wrong either way. Both of them are
Exciting.
exciting, and the IMC stock car's up and coming, I think.
I think that's gonna be a
It's
great
gonna
deal.
be something
Yeah.
big that we're gonna have here in Arkansas now.
What, you know, it's something, and I was overhearing while we were setting up the field of drivers, you know, in the mini sprints, you know, is, you know, obviously there's a lot of young people your age and a little older, but, you know, there's also some, you know, older people in the sport.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the variety of drivers out there that you're competing against.
You know, my first ever real season was last season. I know a guy, his name's Dusty Young. I bet you he's been racing for
Long
30
time.
years.
micros for
Long
20
time.
something years. And we go out there every weekend, competitive. We race with them guys. I mean, there's some guys that have been into sprint cars and micros and all that. And I don't really have a problem with it, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes.
No, it's not a beginner's
No.
class.
And you gotta, if you're gonna go forward, you gotta be up on the wheel driving things, or you're gonna go backwards. Most of the time.
I think the biggest thing, most people look at the mini sprint as, you know, when you say mini, and they just look at it as a kid's class, you know, or
Oh,
Kind of
it's not.
a rookie class, I guess, you know, or something. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it's tough. It's a tough class. I'm not saying it's a ASCS caliber drivers or, you know, Lucas Oil or anything. It's a tough class though. It really is.
Competition.
We went to Riverside this weekend, just to give you an indication on the competition at I-30. We went to Riverside this past weekend, and the top 4 out of 5 cars were I-30 cars. And the only car in there, in that mix, was, I think they're out of Illinois or somewhere, and it's Joe B. Miller's house car. He ran 3rd. But I-30 cars were 1st and 2nd, and then 4th and 5th. And so, I mean, that says something for the competition, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Not just in the mini sprint class, it's all the way through every class she's got out there.
Oh, yeah.
If you can win at I-30, I mean, y'all heard it many times, if you can win at I-30, you can go anywhere just about and win.
And that was one of the things I was alluding to, is a lot of times fans or people looking to get into the sport, they may look at that class and have a misconception about it.
Right.
And there's some very talented people, out there in that class.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, not just Dusty, I mean, you've got Matthew Baldwin, both the Myers boys.
Tommy Snowgrove.
Tommy Snellgrove, race three, he run 360 sprint cars, and there's a lot of competition in that class, it really is.
And I've had struggles and good times in it. That one night you start deep in the pack, it can end up with some broke parts and wings been up, and everybody says there's a track called Port City Raceway. They said you're gonna break stuff every week you go there to be competitive, and that's what you got to do in micros now to race with them guys that are really, really fast.
You just gotta be aggressive.
Well, it makes you better too as a driver,
Yeah.
being somewhere else racing.
Other people.
Better than what we've got, it's just different people that you're around, and that's about the same anyway.
Then we go from Conner and the mini sprints to these three guys.
Yeah, these
Right
three.
here that battle each other every week pretty much in the
Retired.
modifieds. And we'll start with Jeremy here. I mean, you've been racing for a long time and had a lot of good accomplishments in all your racing career.
Yeah, I feel like I have. I started in '99, was my first year. I was actually helping a guy named King Locks at the time, and we were going to a track in Sheridan that's closed down now. It's called Midway Raceway or something. And they started having mechanics races. And Kenny asked me one night, he said, "Man, you want to race that mechanics race?" I said, "Sure." And anyway, it led from there. I won a couple of mechanics races, and the following season, his dad wanted to put me in were they pure stocks back then, or one of the
Might have been a pure stock.
pure stock or something,
Hobby stock.
hobby stock or
Hobby stock.
something. And won a few races in that deal, and then moved up to street stock and got to racing with this guy all the time. But I knew early, when I started pure stock or hobby stock, whatever it was, you'd be sitting at the shop and conversations, like we're having now, would be brought up about, the previous week or 2 months before this or whatever, and there were two names that always stood out to me, that always got mentioned. We'd be working on Kenny's car, and he'd say, "Well, man, we got to do something now, run that bionic banana." And
That was a good being conversation like
yeah. But
Yeah.
it just never failed. It didn't matter if we was at the racetrack, at the race shop, somebody else's shop, or where we was at. Randy's name always got brought up, and the other guy was Tim Crawley. And I told myself early in my racing career that those are the two guys. Not that I wanted to be like I didn't, but I wanted to be a racer like them. I felt like if I could get in any car, I mean, that was one thing with Tim and Randy. They could climb in anybody's car at that racetrack and go do, if not win, they were going to do good. And it didn't matter if it was a hobby stock, a street stock, a modified, and I've never seen Randy run a sprint car or probably a late model.
It just needed a
But
steering wheel.
but there's no doubt in my mind he couldn't get in one and shoe it,
Needed a steering wheel.
But like Crawley, I mean, that guy drives everything there is, and he's good at it. And that's where I wanted to be. I wanted not saying I wanted to be, Tim Crawley himself or whatever, but I wanted to be that guy that could just get in any car and be competitive.
And you've done a good job at that over the years.
I feel like, for the most part, I met my expectations. Every car I've ever sat in, for the most part, I won And I never owned my own car. I was fortunate enough that I raced for somebody, my whole career. And,
Except my car.
yeah, until we bought this car. And, but it was fun. I still miss it. I'd climb back in one today, but,
How old was you when you started?
I was 21 or 22 years old when I started.
You got a late start though.
Yeah, I got a real late start.
But you got other things now. You get to watch Conner and help Conner
Well,
run and
People ask me all the time, they're like, man, do you not miss, the mods or street stock or
Right.
anything? And I do. I mean, but I'm so competitive. We tried, when he first started go-kart racing, I bought 2 of them. And I was kind of convinced my wife, to let me. I was like, look, we'll both go race, he can race one, I can race one, we'll be in 2 different classes. Well, the problem with that was I was so competitive. Matter of fact, you even had one back then.
I had a go-kart.
And I felt myself, I was working on my car to win, and I was kind of putting him on the back burner. And we did that for a couple of months, and I finally told Jamie, I was like, I gotta sell this, because he's not getting anything out of it, because I'm not making his stuff any better.
Right.
So,
Them go-karts, you gotta work on them things.
yeah.
I still beat him.
Stock car.
And a quick question,
Yes, sir.
how important was his go-kart experience with his future endeavors in racing?
Well, I think it's important. It teaches him, of course, you just throw a kid out there, he don't know what the yellow flag means, or the red flag, or the black flag, or, they don't know it. So it teaches them that, and it also teaches them, to respect a different driver.
Or, like,
You don't just run in there and, run over somebody intentionally, and if you do, you pay, they send you to the rear. I think it plays a big part, getting somebody started early. I wish I could have started when I was his age. Unfortunately, I didn't. There's no telling where I'd be if I did, And I may not have been anywhere different, but, I guess it's, the man upstairs has a plan for everything, and that was my.
The reason we ask this question a lot, especially when someone come out of go-kart racing, is a lot of people ask us, how do I get into racing? And especially, with younger people, we try to steer them to go-karts for one, and then like you was getting into it, there's a lot of work to a go-kart.
There's a lot of work.
And you will decide early on if you've really got what it takes to maintain a car every week.
Right.
And just, the things that you can learn out there on the track, get in the curve, off the curve. I just think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of younger people that overlook that step to getting into racing.
Right.
And-
Well, a lot of people look at it as you're going down to your little fun track,
But the truth of the matter is that go-kart is a race car.
yes, absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
is a race vehicle.
and I think he's seen that I started to get better as it went on. So he bought better equipment, and better equipment. And then it ended up being a habit, basically.
Well, I seen he had potential, had he, I don't know how to put it,
Blind yourself.
if
Got
he
out
hadn't,
playing the dirt.
yeah, if he hadn't showed
Yeah.
interest, I guess, if he hadn't been interested in racing,
And the other thing is Jeremy Kuykendall is very competitive.
yes.
yeah. If he hadn't have been involved in racing, or showed interest in it, then we wouldn't have done it, and I'd still be racing today. Well, I'll say that, he's got a younger brother that is chomping at the bit to climb that something.
He's ready to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's-
And Randy's sitting there laughing, but y'all two raced against each other for how many years?
ever since I started, basically.
Easily 20, because I've been watching them since I was born, and I'm
Yeah,
21.
that's
so.
what I say, so,
Oh, wow.
and,
Bryce a hero.
yeah, and then Bryce down there has watched both of them race for a bunch of years.
Always laugh.
And, So, well, I guess, Randy, tell us a little bit about the mod racing and how
Where it all began.
Where it all began and how you got started in
Well,
it.
I got started way back in '84, you know, and I got started in demolition derby, not a demolition derby, but a enduro car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I started an enduro car and raced that one time, and I thought, man, this is it. I went out there, I was passing cars like crap. I didn't know you had to last all day. I blew it up 25 laps. I said, man, I got to be a real race car.
Yeah.
So we built the Chevelle after that and went out there and won some races, and I was hooked. Then I was racing with street stocks. You know, we raced against Jeremy, and like I said, Jeremy can wheel anything. And we had a bunch of good races. And BB, I-30.
Farmville.
I used to dread Friday nights going to BB because I had to chase his butt all night long. He could just get around that place, and I couldn't. I could get around it, but I never could outrun him.
Just not like him.
We had a super good car, you know, right around the 99, 2000. I had the, you know, they called it the Bonnie down, and it was just, it would handle, it would just go. It was a fast car, and I won a bunch of races in it, and then the Fox family come along and asked me if I'd drive their modified, and her Grandma Fox's grandson got killed, and they set out a year. I think it was 2002. They set out 2002. 2003, I started driving for them, and I drove their modified, and I think we won one race that year. And I said, you know, we're going to have to update if we want some. And we started updating, and we started winning some races. And I drove for them for 17 years. And
Wow.
I think we made a blanket for her. She retired, said she's going to have to retire and get out of racing. And they were so good to me, though. And we won 117 features for them, and 13 track championships, and just an awesome. It was an awesome family that I raced for.
Great people.
Yeah. Great. I mean, the Fox family was just great ambassadors.
They'd help
for the
anybody.
period.
You
They
need
were.
something, you could ask them.
Their home was kind of BB Speedway, you know.
Right.
And we
Were
raced.
all those championships at BB?
No, I-30 BB.
I-30 also, okay.
Yeah, and I think '06 we won 18 features at I-30. Won nine at I-30 and 9 at BB. So it's kind of wild. We won the track championship, both tracks. You know, it was IMCA deal, and that was probably our best year there. But I just can't thank them enough for letting me drive for them. And Grandma Fox, she's just like my grandma. She's family to me.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of people, if you drive for them, and they want to do their own thing, and she let me do my own thing. So whatever I wanted to do, there was a car to do it. So, and it was a great
She
relationship.
trusted Randy enough to,
Yeah,
I think you kept the car down there, didn't you?
yeah. At first I kept it at their house,
Right.
and then the work wouldn't get done like we needed. You know how much it
Car
takes.
drive
Yeah.
back and forth.
And I was driving back and forth there, and then she said, "Why don't you take them to your house?" And I was like, "Whew, that's a blessing." So I took them to my house, and I kept them at my house for, the last probably 10 years
Right.
that I raced for them. And like I said, just a great relationship, and won a bunch of races with them.
And I want to say something too, that, people say, Randy won all those races, and they weren't easy races to win. I mean,
No.
at BB and I-30, even Dave, especially back then, the competition was just horrendous.
Competition was
He won those 18 races, but you had drivers out there that was just, he may have been beating them, but they were wearing him out every week for you to be out, it wasn't an
It was
easy
different
race.
than it is today.
Yeah.
Still.
Hey, Kuykendall, he says you can't get around BB, he'd come up there, and I remember this one night, I was just rolling on the top, and Jeremy was running right around the bottom, and the track wasn't nothing left, a little bit on top, but not much,
And
So
it
I
was
go
bone
up there,
sleep.
past Jeremy, soon as I passed him, I went to the bottom. I was like, well, I'll just get down here and block him now. He went right around me on the top.
Ended up winning the race.
He won the race. I was like, why did I get off the top? Yeah.
Matter of fact, you came to me that night and you said, man, I'd have never thought in a million years you'd have went to the top. I was like, hell, you just passed me. You showed me it was faster.
We was talking about
But
that
there
the
wasn't
other
much
night
up
down
there.
here.
Yeah.
We was talking about that the other night down here.
That was some good racing we had.
Me and Randy's race, we've had some really good races. Really good
And
races.
not beat on each other.
No.
We've never beat on each other. We might have got into each other, but
Right.
we never beat on each other.
I mean, you're on a dirt track. You're gonna rub and, you know, but I always,
Yeah, you don't
You
care
had to
nothing
respect
up.
me and
right, I
respect
always
you.
respected that guy every time we put on the racetrack. I mean, there's just certain guys, and it's not just Randy, there's several guys, when you hear people all the time, when I put that helmet on, I ain't got no friends. Well, I mean, that's true. If you're gonna win races, you gotta, if you're, you got that competitive drive, no, you're not friends, I mean, you are friends with that guy, but you race him different,
And Bryce is the same way,
Right.
I go in the corner wide open and, if we rub, but I'm not going to go in there and hit him and he's
No.
not going there and just bank off of me. It's a respect deal,
Respect deal.
And the guys that do slam you and then you have a few words with them.
right.
That's
Yeah.
like you.
That's when stuff gets tore up at the next curve.
Mhm.
That's down there to Bryce.
Yeah, Dad.
You're racing the modified also, and I-30, you was last year's 2020 I-30 champion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First one that I was lucky enough to win. Of course, I can't thank Jeremy and his family enough for what they've done. Like I said earlier, I grew up watching these guys race, and getting to race with them was I probably felt the same when I won the championship, when I got to start racing them guys, because like I said, I started watching them, like Conner, I was probably 2 weeks old, roughly, when I started going to the races and watching them guys. And I would always say, I want to be like, them. I want to be able to race like them. And I was 7, and I was out in the shop with my dad, and I told him, I said, Dad, I want to race. And he said, all right, well, I'll get you a go-kart. I was like, no, I want a mini sprint. And he was like, okay, and I just I felt like we had that talk and it was over with, I was like, well, I really wasn't worried about it. That was probably August of '07. And around January, well, it was on my birthday, in January of '08, I turned 8, and Dad had come woke me up, got me out of bed, and he said, ain't you come here and help me with something? I said, okay. And I walk outside, and there's a mini sprint chassis sitting in the back of his truck, powder coated. And I looked at him and I was like, what's that? He said, that's your first race car. And I said, I was 8 then, and I raced mini sprints for 2 or 3 years, and he kind of talked me into a bigger car, and at 2011 or 2012, I got into I guess it was a hobby stock then too, or a straight stock, whatever it was back then. And I raced those for 2 years, and we come into a mod, started racing those when I was 14. And I'm 21 now, and that's what I've been racing since then. And I've been real fortunate. I've had real good runs with these guys. I've got to race Randy a little more than I have Jeremy. I remember the first time I got to race Jeremy, we both started on the front row of the heat race. And I was sitting there thinking, before we took the green, I was like, I hope I can stay with him. And I was probably 2 or 3 lengths back, and I was running second, and we come to 2 laps to go over a white flag, and I spun it out. And I get back in the pits, and Dad said, what'd you do wrong? I said, trying to catch Jeremy. Trying to catch Jeremy. And the same way with Randy, I've been fortunate enough to race with him and race real hard for the last 7, 8 years that I've been in a mod, and learned a lot from those guys. I'd follow them while I was on the racetrack, and I'd race. Dad always tell me, he said, pick somebody you know is good and follow them, learn from them. And these 2 guys were it. At I-30 especially, I followed them and learned from them, and I've been real
They
fortunate.
offered information when we.
They would help. They would for sure. They'd help and give me information and pointers and stuff like that. And it brought me a long way.
no doubt, you do an excellent job, you know, out here on the racetrack.
Yes, sir.
I wanna backtrack and we'll get to your mini sprint.
That's
days.
what I was fixing.
I can just tell, you know, from talking to Kenny, I'm sure he just really enjoyed working on that mini sprint.
Well, that was my question. I talked to him about the mini sprint, how he felt there, and that was the question. That was the other question that I had with both of them too, was when you pulled up there, you had the mini sprint powder coated in the back of the rig, him at 7, 8 year old at that point in time. When you brought it in the shop, did you make his rear end get out there and help you put that thing, build that car, or watch?
He's helped on everything we've ever done. I mean, friend of mine, Chuck McKinney, I mean, we took that car and first off, I played Dusty Young, cause he helped me find the car. And, I mean, actually it was a complete car, but we took it apart and complete.
There's that
Back
name
to it.
again.
Dusty,
Yeah.
Dusty's been around a long
Dusty's-
time, good
Dusty's
help,
raced
good
a lot of
friend.
stuff.
and he's good.
Yeah, man, we put that dude together and that's like, I've got his fire suit hanging on the wall in there and it's about that tall.
But
It
if
started from there and then we get in the garage out here on Saturday mornings and God, I mean, I hated them. I love the car, I just hated motorcycle motors because I didn't know nothing about it. But I got help finally. Me and his mom would fight every morning, every Saturday morning, are we gonna make it, are we gonna make it? I said, you just leave me alone, I'm gonna make it. Then we load up and go. Same thing next week. We're gonna make it. Yeah, we're gonna make it, just leave me alone.
That's whenever he asked me, he talked me into a bigger car, he said that if you will let me get you something that I can work on,
Yeah.
we'll be fine. I said, fine, we'll get me something we can work on, and that's when it took
That's
off.
probably, is that where you're at with
That's
this?
exactly, hey, I have nothing against, I mean, everybody needs to start somewhere, they need a starter, beginner's class thing or whatever. But man, I'm telling you right now, I've worked on every dirt car there is to work on but a sprint car.
You work on a sprint car.
A big, I'm gonna say a big car. And I've worked on a few of them here and there, just piddling, but I've really worked on the mods, late models, street stocks, and,
There's
there's none of them compared to a mini sprint. A mini sprint is a lot of work,
Yes, it
a
is.
lot of work. Especially back when Kenny's talking,
I know nothing
they didn't
about
have
it.
injection, they had stock injection. of course,
Carburetors.
but everybody back then run carburetors that were converted to alcohol or methanol. And, man, the floats would, it was horrible.
Every week you took them apart. If
Yeah.
you didn't race.
It's a little bit easier now that everybody's on, this latest, greatest injection system and whatever, they call it plug and play, you just plug it up and go play. It's still not that simple, but, as soon as we can do something else, that's the route we're headed. We've already
basically-
veered towards that street.
Basically, what Kenny wanted to do, he wanted to go to work from working on 4 carburetors to 1.
There you go, yeah, that was it.
My first ever mini sprint, every single Monday, he'd have them in the kitchen sink, scrubbing and
I know that feeling.
Man, I'm telling you, them carburetors they're,
Pain in the butt.
they are.
Plain and simple.
Looking back now, I kind of wish we'd have started in a go-kart, just to kind of teach me better driving, skills and habits as far as, because a go-kart is probably the best.
Maintain.
Well, it teaches you good habits and good skills.
Right.
Well, the thing I can say about the go-kart is everything happens so fast.
Right.
And,
Mini sprint too.
I didn't race a lot of go-kart stuff when, growing up, but you're on a small little racetrack. Conner, once we finally got the, latest, greatest tacks and this and that, GPS tacks, whatever, he was doing these tracks in 8 seconds. So I told myself, if he can get around this racetrack as fast as he's going in 8 seconds, surely he can get on a quarter-mile racetrack. Everything's gonna slow down to him, and he's already gonna have that, just the feel of going fast.
Them little kids fly on them go-karts.
Oh, man,
yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I said, the go-kart, if you're wanting to get into racing, regardless of what age you are, don't don't skip that step,
Mm-mm.
because there's so much.
Good place.
I see kids 4 years old racing go-karts.
And they're quick.
You get the.
I mean, I see grown men still racing
Oh,
go-karts.
yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's not, go-kart is not,
It ain't just for the kids.
It's not that go-kart you go and go into town and buy, rent
No,
and play
no,
around.
it's not,
That's not it.
No, they're real deal.
it's kinda like the mini sprint thing, you know, it's not just cause you've got a go-kart, you know, everybody's gonna look down on you because you're just that rookie driver. It's nothing like that,
They've got so much money. in
go-karts
five
are
horse.
competitive.
You got the same respect in a
Now,
go-kart.
now,
as
I will
like
say-
a Slate Mall.
I will
Right.
say, in Arkansas, the go-kart world has kinda died off quite a bit.
It comes and goes.
Right.
It comes and goes.
Everybody's transferring over.
What obviously, we're sitting here at a table with a lot of racing experience, and we know where the sports come from. Where do you guys see it going in the future?
The sport as a whole.
Yeah.
We got to get more kids involved. I mean, I still see like your professional dirt level. I see that staying around for a very long time. But the local level, it's I'm not saying it's dying off, but it's slowing down. We need more kids and just fans in general to come out to your local tracks and give it a chance and.
We
Get
probably need
people
more
involved.
beginner classes.
Right.
You know, at least a beginner class. Right now, we really don't have a beginner class.
And let's talk about that real quick. But the average beginner class these days at a racetrack, what would you say the monetary investment is to go race?
Well, now, I will say, this year, in 2021, a couple of tracks local, you know, CAMS, Central Arkansas Motor Speedway, and I-30, they both started that Young Guns class.
And
And
that's good, but let me go back and you're a kid or a young man that's 18, just graduated high school.
Okay, well,
wants
if
to
you're
go stock
18,
car racing.
Yeah, you can't do that class.
What's the monetary investment to
I
go
would
racing?
either, if I was 18 and just got into racing, either factory stock.
Well, again, it kind of goes back to your roots. You know, you take, you ask Landon Crawley at 18 years old what he wants to race, and it ain't gonna be a stock car.
No, it's gonna be a sprint car.
It's gonna be a
It
full-fledged.
already is.
Yeah.
14
He's
I
good
mean, that
at
kid
it.
right there is just
He's
unbelievable.
just
But
unbelievable.
but like I said.
But your average kid, you know, just that hadn't been around racing,
I know nothing
I
about
mean,
it.
I guess what he's, or what we're saying, you know, that class anymore I mean, it's like when we all got started. I mean, there was a time when you could take a $2,500 car and go out there and race.
yeah, it's not that, that's how.
Those days
not
right
there.
now
No, it's over.
aren't there.
Or 25,000.
So those kids that can go, you know, those days of,
There's not a class, let me just say this, there's not a class you can start in, top tier to bottom tier, however you wanna rate them, that you can start for less than 10,000.
Because they're all top tier classes.
Yes,
Look,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
but my question, we need that class.
Right.
We do need that class, and they tried to start that class several years ago, you know, the old, knock the windows out of them, whatever, I don't even remember what they were called, it was basically kinda like an enduro car.
They would go backwards.
No, Connor, that was the enduro. But I'm saying there was a class, and it just never took off, or you know, they were trying some different rules, and I don't know, this track had this rule, and this track was on this rule, and
And me and you talked about that earlier, you know, really, it would be great for all racetracks and promoters and everything, for the future of racing, for all them to get together, which we know probably ain't ever gonna happen. But for all these tracks.
You're the only man I know that can make it happen.
Yes. But for all these tracks to get together
well,
and
the
come
problem-
up with that class where they all run the same rule, that a lot of these people can start getting into racing, because eventually if they can start running when they're young and running a car that don't break the bank, eventually, they're gonna graduate up to them other classes.
Oh,
And they're gonna be
Right.
racing all over the state of Arkansas at all these other tracks. In
I
a
don't
modified, in a street stock, in a, but right now, like you're saying, we're losing all these because there's no class for them to go
Well,
to.
me and Kenny, we said earlier, the young guns class is great, but we need an old guns.
An old
class.
guns
Yeah,
class.
yeah, senior citizens class.
You said we, I don't think I was in on it.
Yeah, I started when I was 19,
I
and Jerry
don't
started
know.
when he was 20, 21, so. Them older guys, they wanna race too.
Yeah,
I say older.
You know, and
About-
you
about 21
you
or
go to the
22.
races every week, and you look out in the pits and in the stands, and you see so many guys who are good racers and still want to race today, but economically, it just don't tabulate, can't afford it.
Yeah. Oh, I said it all the time. Me and a really good friend of mine, Robert Baker, was talking today, matter of fact.
He was
And,
working on a mini sprint.
There's so much talent,
Going
not
away.
just at I-30. I mean, at all of these racetracks, there's so much talent in several different classes. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, you could take the top 5 guys, who you would consider the top 5 in the IMCA class, say for instance, in the mods. Those guys could go compete with the right sponsorship help and this, there's no doubt they could go compete in comp, or for, any of the late model series, with some help. I mean, this guy sitting beside me, there's no doubt in my mind, had he had the resources and not saying that grandma and them, didn't have, but it was just, I mean, you know what I'm getting at.
But we've said this before, there's lots of talent that's come out of the state of Arkansas
Oh, absolutely.
in dirt track racing.
Yes.
Billy Moore.
Lots of talent. And there's still lots of talent out there.
Mhm.
They don't.
Really?
A lot of people don't get to
They don't
showcase it.
get,
Yeah,
right,
they
right.
don't even get recognized.
They don't get
A
recognized.
lot of
for
people don't
racing.
get to showcase it, and it's sad, but that's, that's just kind of where the sport's gone to. I mean, everything costs so much now.
I'm
If it's
surprised
not,
some of the guys from Batesville, like Peyton and
right,
Jeff and the Taylor boys and Landers, I'm surprised they didn't get a chance to go NASCAR.
at least
Yeah,
ARCA
'cause-
racing or
Because
something.
they had the connections,
Right.
with Mark and all that, with Lance Landers and Mark Martin, they had the connections there. I just don't know, I thought one of them might have a chance to get to go big time racing.
Mhm.
And that's guys that you're talking about too, that like we're talking about in the state of Arkansas, there's a lot of those
Oh, yeah.
around the whole state.
I mean, people sit back and think, oh yeah, there's 10 or 15, no, there's hundreds. Honestly, there's
There
probably,
is, they just don't get that opportunity.
that's right, they don't get the exposure, and they don't get, unfortunately in Arkansas, you're not gonna get that TV time, you know what I'm saying, per se.
Which is great.
No,
Which is great with what y'all are doing. That's
I'm just saying, on a every Friday, Saturday
Right,
night,
oh, I know what you're
you
saying.
flip on MAV TV right now and you see Jonathan Davenport flying around Wynot or, somewhere down in East Bay or whatever, every weekend, you see that, you never flip on MAV TV and watch Randy Weaver going around out there Speedway.
Now, that's why Randy Weaver is all Arkansas Motorsports magazines, Tuesday night, 2 up tonight.
That's right. But I mean, with that being said, I mean, there's a lot of talent that never gets showcased.
A lot of talent
Not
sitting
taking
right
anything
here.
away
Yeah,
from
there's
Yeah.
talent sitting right here.
the guys that
I mean,
do
we
it.
got a lot of talent sitting right here. Made lots of laps, look
But-
right.
I haven't.
But at some point in time, and back to what we were discussing, the owners and promoters have got to make a serious decision to do something for an entry-level class,
Yep.
for the sport to survive.
And some people say mini
It'd
sprints
be
are,
nice.
but they're outlawed.
that
not
would probably be
restricted.
what is recognized at, which it's not. But
It
that would probably be
used to
what's
go-
being recognized as a beginner class.
Well,
eight
I mean,
class
you
or-
have several different, you've got the mini stocks, for instance. You got the mini sprints, the mini stocks, the mod lights, they're set, but those aren't
They're not big
entry
into
level,
no.
what I would consider an entry level class. I mean,
No.
every one of those classes you can talk about have veteran drivers. I mean, guys that's been racing in this sport for 15, 20 years. And, you know, for somebody off the street to just come up and say, hey, man, I think I want to buy one of those cars and start racing. Well, you better grab your
Good
back
luck
pocket
with that.
because it's,
They used to have a class where you,
The Horizon.
if you won
if you win so
3 or
many
4
races.
features, then you had to
You
move
moved
up.
up, yeah,
You
right.
know, but they don't do that no more, you know.
Randy, backing up a little bit, after the Enduro car, and the first car you built, what do you think it cost you?
I had a $500 motor. I ran it 2 years. And it was a stock RV cam. Didn't have 300 horse heads or nothing. It was just a
Stock 882.
and we ran stock heads. We ran 7-inch wheels, you know, stock wheels.
Right.
We had stock wheels, put 1-inch lug nuts on them, and man, we got a blast in that class.
And I think too, I think some of the fault lays at the manufacturers, and we don't have a lot of rear-wheel drive cars that are suitable to
Right.
build dirt track cars out of anymore.
And the ones that are.
You know, I really
think.
think
Yes.
that enduro class, you know, they started some enduro races here several years ago. And that was a big hit. I mean, there were times there were 100 of those things at Little Rock. You know, I don't know what
Some
Batesville
over
would
around Hot
carry.
Springs, over in there.
But there would be 100 cars show up at Little Rock. And I think that really, I don't know.
And like I said, that was my first race. I got an enduro car and I was flying. I thought,
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean,
I was addicted right then.
that would be a good entry level, you know, it's kind of like the Young Guns deal in a way, but you know, the Young Guns stops at 15 years old.
That's what they should do at micros.
But you could do, you know, you could do some kind of entry level where the guy could just go, you know, buy a car from Joe Jr. You pull it or, you know, whatever.
Knock windows out, let's ride.
Yeah, knock the windows out of it, clean the interior up a little bit, put a cage in it, and you're racing for a couple $1,000s, you know. No, it's not gonna be like sitting in the seat of a mod or late model or something like that, but
But you start somewhere. That
Well,
you can afford.
but you're gonna get people out there
Right.
that normally wouldn't, because they can't afford a $30,000 model.
Right.
You know, but they can afford this $2,000 '82 Monte Carlo that they can knock the windows out of and go out there and run around the racetrack at 42 miles an hour.
Which helps the sport.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's-
you get 20 of those cars out there going 42 miles an hour.
It makes it interesting.
Novice drivers, you know, you don't have me and Randy out there in this class. It would be fun to watch. You know, I mean, it would be like watching a powder puff, but it would be and I'm not saying nothing bad about the powder puff, but
That gets exciting sometimes. Huh?
yes, absolutely. I mean, that's a perfect point. I mean, everybody goes to the fence and watches those girls go around the
There's
racetrack
girls out there.
because it's fun to watch, you know?
It's exciting.
And to me, it would be the same way, just
And I
knock the
agree with
windows
you,
out of it.
there's gotta be something out there that we get, I mean, I'm excited, and I know everybody is with the IMSA stock cars,
Oh, absolutely.
because that's gonna be, for Arkansas and Tracy bringing them up there to I-30 was a great thing, and then now Batesville's gonna be running them up there. I mean, excited about watching them in the state, because I think it's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
But
I think the
that's
next
still
couple
not
years-
the beginner class to come out here
It's not.
and be able to run,
And I think,
because it's still an expensive class to get involved in.
I think too, one class is gonna, I don't know how to really put it, but I think you're gonna have guys step down from mods, for whatever reason, and start getting into the iStock deal.
And I agree with you. I think they
So
will.
then in that perspective, now the mod class is gonna drop off. You know, now you're gonna start having, but, you know, I think the iStock thing is gonna grow.
Yeah.
I think the next couple of years, there's gonna be as many or more of them than there are mods.
We contemplated doing.
But I do see, you know, in the future, I see mod guys dropping out of the mod and going to the iStock. Why not? They've already got the parts, you know, it's the same wheels, same tires, same shop package basically, same, I mean, there's a lot of similarities, you know.
Then they got a $50,000 race.
Right.
Baseball speedway.
Baseball
Yeah.
speedway.
They
I
can
know
go race
that.
for 50,000, you know.
That makes sense.
Oh, we don't see Randy Wood?
Oh, yeah.
I believe I will
Hey.
be there.
Where's
And,
your
If the car holds up.
If I can find a ride, I'll be there.
One thing I gotta say real quick before I know getting later in time here, but, Bryce, I guess my understanding, and I may be correct, I may not be correct, but you're gonna be maybe in the future running a lake model a little bit?
Yeah, we got a call Sunday and had a guy give us an opportunity. The next time that they have a race, his the track that they run after, he's gonna let me make some laps and get us in there and let us.
Excited about
Yeah,
that?
it's something new because that's one I haven't drove before, so I'm real excited about that. Of course, I've always wanted to since I was born watching them. You know,
I'm gonna tell you, your dad probably will be excited about that.
He's-
Help
he's
build the first
always excited.
GRT car,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, these people are really nice people, man. You just gotta get to know them, man, but they're good people, and I feel like we're very fortunate just to have the opportunity.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
I know he'll give his all, and I know I'll give my all.
That's my dream.
I think that's all
There you go.
our dreams.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been a fun night. Before we close out, our production manager, Aaron Yoki, he's over there giving us the old sheep's hook. But we're gonna throw it back over here to Heath with the New Vision Graphics vision for the future of 2021. Heath?
Yeah, and we wanna thank New Vision for
New Vision Graphics.
graphics
Coming on board.
coming on board and doing everything that they can do for us. I guess with Kenny here, for 2021, while we're looking for you, I know what you're gonna be doing, but you can go ahead and tell us what you're gonna be doing for 2021 right here. You're gonna be
Be right here in the shop,
right
pretty
here
much
in
every
this
day.
shop, keeping an eye on these guys.
Yeah, they don't make me do a whole lot. They talk about old folks, get out the way. So I just sit over here and listen to them.
Understand?
I don't correct nobody.
Nope.
Race hard.
And Conner here, what can we expect out of you this year?
You know, I want to go to some big races. I don't
Huh.
know if old dad here does though, but that's some plans here. We'll probably go to I-30 and Riverside a lot this year, but might be able to drive a modified again.
What you look at Kenny for?
You know, I want to say something.
I'm broke.
We, last week's show, when you were mentioning who was gonna be on this week's show, and you mentioned Connor's name, everybody in the room, all the attention in conversation turned to Connor.
Right.
You know, everybody knows what he's got going on out there, so.
You know, being
I
so
thought
young
that
the way
was-
he's wheeling a race car, it's kind of
when you get
Well, and
there-
there's several,
Reasons.
no, there's several young,
There's reasons.
there's several young kids, that I think a lot of people's got their eye on, this year. Not just Connor, Braden
Brady
Baker.
Baker.
He's moved up to the 305s this year, and that kid's willing that car.
First ever race.
Landon Crawley, he had race one last weekend and just rode a tire or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but,
On the last lap.
Yeah, that's it.
Led every lap except for that.
But that's exciting, these younger kids getting,
Yeah.
racing.
I mean, you're talking 13 years old and younger,
Yeah.
That's some talent.
That's pretty good.
And I figure we know what Jeremy's gonna be doing, but we're gonna ask.
I will be,
Hickory.
trying to help get the 41 car going a little better. And of course, working with Connor, on that mini sprint, we may go hit some bigger races toward the end of the season, out of state, depending on how the,
How
how
things
the
are
rest
going.
of the season goes, but, yeah,
Bryce.
I'm looking forward to, hopefully winning some races and just helping people out. I mean, I enjoy just helping, now. Bryce and Kenny didn't call me to come work on this car. I mean, I basically called them, said, hey man, if y'all need some help, just let me know,
Been a blessing.
and they were I was fortunate enough to come up here and, start helping them last year on the car,
And
I even, I help Randy when I can, or anybody,
We've all called each other. asking something, some kind of help or something. I mean, that's, goes back to being friends too. I say give a little, get a little, every day,
Yes.
and it works.
And Randy,
I'm
2021, what are we looking for Randy Weaver?
I'm gonna race mobile modified, and I'm racing the I-Stock at I-30, so I'm gonna race both of those classes. And hopefully go to that 50,000 to win I-Stock race.
They got a mod
What
race too,
what
don't
about the
Got a mod
50,000 mod race
Also.
up there? You gonna try to?
I don't know if I'm gonna have enough vacation for both. We gotta take off a week to go to those races.
Well,
We've cut it down a few days for
Yeah.
both of those, yeah.
But I might can make it.
schedule.
Yeah,
I might
let's
can make
cut
both
back a
of them.
little bit.
I mean,
now.
if he wants to go do the I-Stock, I mean, I'm sure I can change the seat and do the mod deal.
We may just call on you for that.
Might work a deal out, huh?
I'm already gonna call him for some information anyways.
Yeah.
He's
I
gonna
gotta-
come over my
Bryce,
shop, help me
what-
out.
What about you, 2021?
Well, we're gonna try to hit a few big races. Legit Speedway in West Plains has got a 2,000 win in May, into May, I think, and we're gonna hit that. And gonna try to hit the 50,000 win mod race. And there's a couple other tracks I'd like to travel to and race at. But just focus on having a good year and have fun. That's the main thing, you know, have fun.
You gonna make a few more trips up to? You said you're gonna go run Batesville.
Yeah.
Go run the 50,000 race up there.
We're gonna go up there and try to get our car dialed in for that track also, get some notes taken, you know, and
Right.
that way when we go up there, we won't be just blind, you know. And just, like I said, have fun and race as much as we can.
One more thing though.
What you got, Connor?
I got fourth in points last year. I want a point championship before I get out of micros, so I'm gonna be pushing for that too.
That's what you're gonna try to do this year. There you go. There you go.
Full good ride.
And I got ninth in points at Riverside
And you only race her like what, twice this year?
3 times.
Well, anyway, thank all of y'all.
Thank
And,
y'all
for
Thank y'all for your
taking time out of your busy
Take
racing
time to spend with
schedules
us.
to be with us for an hour or so tonight. And once again, we want to thank Chambers Bank, sponsor of Arkansas Motorsports Magazine, 28 locations in Arkansas. True Grit Auctions, Arkansas's number
Be-
one.
And be
online
sure,
auction
be
company.
sure to go look at that. Should be on by tomorrow night.
Yeah, look
On
at
high
that, guys.
bid.
That's-
We need another lift. So
That's
we're
gonna be
actually
That's gonna be
For my
a really
car?
good auction.
We want to thank KR Performance Fuels, Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Skyway Buick GMC in Joplin, Missouri. We also want to thank Western Petroleum, as well as New Vision Graphics, 4Play Speed and Muffler Shop, Straight Line Transmissions over in Greenbrier, Arkansas. Thank you, Kyle, for all you do. And
And I am gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna get on the phone when I leave here because like I said, I'm gonna check out this Johnny Bird.
you need to get
Yeah,
to
I
the bottom of
know about
this.
that.
You know,
Yeah.
you're always looking for a story that'll turn the racing world of Arkansas up on its ears.
That would be it, wouldn't it? Bird in a sprint car.
I'm sure his phone is probably already ringing. But,
Yep.
you know, but when you venture out and try to do something like this, you can't keep it a secret.
Right.
Ain't hide from the race.
Especially somebody like him, because he's a legend, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
He
He is a
Yeah.
legend,
But anyway,
really good.
but like I said, we want to thank all of our sponsors and everybody that tunes in every week, not only here in Arkansas, but across the United States and Canada and Mexico and over in London, England. Thank you folks over there that are watching. And where are we going next week, Heath?
We're gonna be at Tri-State Speedway. Right out front there, we're gonna have we're gonna be there with Hoover, I guess.
Yeah, Hoover, Mike Hoover,
And,
Tri-State's gonna be there.
And there's gonna be a group, we're gonna be sitting there visiting with Hoover talking about the track, but there's gonna be people probably in and out, just different racers and stuff from Tri-State that whole
We're
time
gonna do
we're
the
there.
show just a little bit different
The
that
thing that
night.
wasn't this week is you'd have to wear your coveralls.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it's snowing up there right now.
and Kendall Kilgore,
Yeah.
motorsports artist. He's gonna be there. I'm
Be there.
excited about that. If you've seen any of his work, man, it's fantastic. So, like I said, we got several drivers just gonna drop in and visit a little bit. Something's gonna change the show up a little bit next week, like I said, for the, Tri-State will be opening up for the, first race of the season,
Yeah.
Kegger, in honor of former owner and promoter Cecil Harvey.
Cecil Harvey, yeah.
And, be sure to check our story out on, Arkansas Motorsports Magazine, that we have on there about Cecil Harvey. He was one of the great promoters, so. Well, all right, I'm Bill Gilkey for Heath Tate, Kenny Clark, Conner Kuykendall down there, he's gonna work for a championship this year. Jeremy Kuykendall, Randy Weaver, and Bryce Clark. Thank all of y'all for being with us tonight, and we'll see you back next week from Oklahoma over at Tri-State Speedway.